Hi everyone. Today I'm going to guide you step by step on how to paint this face with watercolor. You can download this sketch from my website and print it directly onto watercolor paper. I'm using the cardboard on the back of my used watercolor pad to create some kind of canvas. The purpose of this is to avoid the paper getting wrinkled when we use lots of water on the painting. I cut the cardboard according to the size of the paper. This A3 size cardboard can make two bases of A4 size that I also will use for the other sketch that I have. Put the paper on top of the cardboard. I use paper tape to put these together. It's easy to get the paper tape off the painting later if you want to do so. Stick the paper tape on each sides of the paper and then cut the edges off with scissors. Now your watercolor canvas is ready to use. There are plenty of free sketches on my website that you can download, so you don't have to worry about drawing the sketches. I put the link below. These are the 3 watercolor brushes that I will use for this painting. I will put the details on the description below. I will use this ceramic palette and these 3 colors. This combination of colors I will use to create skin tone colors. I'll put the details also in the description. If you use tube paints like this, don't forget to close the lid tightly after each use. The paint dries up really quickly, and it makes it hard to open the tube next time. I put all 3 colors on the palette. This one is a bit dried up. And just play around mixing the colors until I get the colors that I want. Skin tone colors is, I think, a bit of reddish, yellow and brown color, all in one. Mixing colors with watercolors, mainly you use your intuition and reference. So it depends of what kind of skin color tone you want to achieve, and there's no right or wrong with it. It's just finding the right color that you will like. And then I add more water to make the paint thinner. I always keep a piece of watercolor paper ready to try the color on before I use it on the painting. Watercolor painting comes in layers. On the first layers, I usually use really thin paint, meaning mixing paints with lots of water. Watercolor paints are transparent, meaning you can see all the layers of colors that you put before it. Painting the first layer is quite easy. Applying thin layer of paint all over her face and neck. I'm using a mop brush, which is the best to paint large area. If you can see how much water I'm using for this watercolor paint, especially on the first layer, you will understand that the thicker the watercolor paper is better. I'm using 300 gram hot press watercolor paper. With hot press watercolor paper, you see barely any texture on the paper, which I like. The other kind is the cold press. There you can see a bit of like canvas texture on the paper. It depends which one that you prefer. If you take a closer look into the sketch that I made, these are areas that I mark to add shadows or darker part of her face. You can simply just follow that marking when you add the second layer of paint. For the second layer, I'm using a large round brush, adding a denser tone of paint to the areas that are marked. And then I soften the edges with a clean, damp brush. This will create some kind of gradation where the shadows are softened. To learn where to locate the shadows on the face, you can look up portrait photos with different light direction. adding these hard and soft shadows will create a three-dimension feel of the face. Like anything else, getting good at painting is just a matter of practice. Not like drawing, painting doesn't require some sort of talent, I think. It's just simply learning how to use the brushes and the paint. With practice, you will learn the characters of the brushes and the paints by heart. It is better to learn one thing over and over again until you understand it before moving on onto a different subject. Learning to paint any object with watercolor is uniquely different, but the principle on how to use the water and the paints are the same. Whether you decide to start to learn portrait or flowers, I got all the tutorial videos ready for you on my channel. If you just started to pick up some brushes and paint now, I think learning to paint a flower is the easiest way to start. If you look up my videos on my channel, there's one video on how to paint a rose. I only use one color of paint for the whole painting. So you can focus on learning on how to understand the brushes and the paint works without worrying about mixing the color at all. I put the link to the video below. If you have any questions about watercolor painting equipment, feel free to pop it up on the comment section. I do not get endorsed with any brand, so anything that I recommended or use in this video is purely my personal preferences. I'm going to finish up the second layer by painting the shadows on her neck and shoulder. Remember, I put the markings all over this area, so you don't have to think where to put them. But I highly recommend to look up as many as photo reference that you can and just learning where to put the shadows of someone's face. In this video, I'm using a grown-up woman's face, but it is different when you paint a woman, men, children, or old people. So they are all challenges for you to learn. Different races definitely also have different challenges to paint. For example, they will have different skin tone color and hair texture. So let me know in a comment below what's the next video that you like to see. I personally like to paint a woman's face with mixed race. I think that's because my background as well. So our family is a mixture of Indonesian and Australian. So yes, that's resonate more with me. This is how the second layer looks like when it's fully dried. On the third layer, you add more depth to some areas of the face. The light source direction of this face is from the upper left. So the areas on the right will have more darker shadows. I'm using a small round brush to add these details. I also keep a clean wet brush handy to soften the edges. Sometimes when I'm adding the details, it's hard to know when to stop. I can't just keep on adding, but I like my paintings to look simple and not too realistic. So I usually stop on third or maximum fourth layers. You can easily see now how the watercolor has a unique character. It's different with any other painting equipment. The result of the dry paint will not be flat. So it captured the movement of the water, creating beautiful texture. That's what I love about watercolor. What do you think? I will speed up the next session of this video just a little bit because I'm just adding details on her face and basically just using the same method, so you can just learn how to add details on her face. Sometimes I hear people say when they watch my videos, like, wow, you make it look that painting watercolor, it seems like it's so easy. But honestly, I made these videos for beginners, and I make the step-by-step guide as simple as possible. So if you watch these videos and just follow every steps that I show you, I'm sure with practice, you will not get overwhelmed and you will fall in love with watercolor. This is the reason why I put up so many free sketches on my website. So when you watch each of my tutorial videos, the sketches is already uploaded there on my website. You can just go there, download it for free, print it out at home directly on watercolor paper. So you don't have to worry at all about starting everything from scratch. I already meet you halfway. So all you need to do, buy a set of paint, buy a set of brush. You don't need to buy thousands of dollars worth of paint. If you do really want to start with watercolor and you have low budget, you can even pick 3 paint colors that you can use. On my other video, I explain how you can create so many colors just by using the 3 primary colors: red, yellow, and blue. With paintbrushes, there are a lot today on the market that the price of the brushes as cheap as $5, that's $5 Australian, and the quality is really actually good enough for you to start, even for you to use it for years and years to come if you know how to take care of your paintbrushes. So don't be afraid, just get started today. I got you. When painting with watercolor, you can wait until the end to see how the overall painting look, and you can just add correction. The paints always look a bit brighter than what it was when it was still wet. If you feel some areas are still too blunt, you can add a bit more detail. I am adding more fine detail with a small round brush. In this section, you can probably see how I work out with 2 different brushes. The other one is the clean one to soften the edges of the color. Sometimes I just even hold them both at the same time. When I started to learn to paint, back in the days, we didn't have YouTube back then. So it's really difficult to find references, if only they have a book about painting watercolors. So the only way to learn to paint is either if you know somebody who can paint watercolor, then you can ask them to teach you, or to follow a course, which as a child, I learned to draw when I was a child. I don't really like to follow courses because I think then people all will paint the same way. But today, the resources are out there and they are very easy to find. Like we have YouTube today. I think the society today is very lucky for us who can afford at least a smartphone. We can learn anything from YouTube. So if I were just starting to learn watercolor today, I will watch as many as videos as I can, and then just buy the simplest, the most affordable tool for me to start, and then just start practicing every day. If you look up one of my videos, it's called Watercolor for Young Children. There I explain the cheapest way, the most affordable way to buy watercolor equipment, so you can just start either for you or for your children. This is the result of the face painting today. What do you think? I am planning to make the tutorial videos to paint the hair, eyes, and lips separately. So you can just focus on learning how to paint face before you move into more objects. If you like to watch those videos, please consider to subscribe and turn your notification on so you won't miss it. I would appreciate if you give me a little time to write some feedback for me on the comment section below so that I can make the next videos better for you. I'm Keishart. I'm a watercolor artist from Australia. Please watch more videos to support my channel so that I can make more videos like this for you for free. Thank you for watching and see you on the next one.